This is a 55-liter aluminum top box. Join me in this video as I unbox the packaging and install it to my motorcycle. The 55-liter aluminum top box for my motorcycle was delivered in this box. It was sealed. I have just previously opened it so that I can inspect it. But I will unbox it now just to show you how it was packed. That's the product label, 55FX Silver. It is packed in bubble wrapping on all four sides, on the top as well as the bottom. I would say though that the bubble wrap and the carton are not entirely protective from high impact knocks during shipment. So fortunately it did not get knocked and dented. The top looks good. I'll take it out now. So this is a 55-liter aluminum top box. It has two aluminum bars on the left and right hand side to allow putting cargo on the top and strapping it down. It also has 1, 2, 3 and 4 latching points on all four corners. So in terms of being able to attach additional cargo to the outside of this top box, it will be easy with all these latching points they have provided. I'll spin this around. So the corner protection from these plastic moldings, perhaps it's ABS, is good. And these look like they may be aluminum rivets, which is good. On the back, again, we have the two latching points on the corner, plastic hinges. If I flip this around to expose the underside, you see that it has plastic footing on four corners and there's a universal mounting plate which needs to be fixed to the motorcycle rear rack. Because I have the bottom locking latch unlocked, I can release it like this, and this rack can be removed by pushing it down there, and you'll slide out. So on the top side of the plate there are 1, 2, 3, 4 bobbins, and these bobbins have a groove in them that enables the bobbins to slide into the top and to the bottom two slots. When the bobbins are secured upwards, then this tongue is locked by this locking bar. The black color plating is not very good quality. I can see some surface rust, so the plating is probably very thin. So what I may do is actually spray some black paint over this to prevent it rusting further. Another example where the black color coating is not very good. I can see here that this does not have adequate black coating on it. It's exposing the color of the metal underneath. To actually unlatch the locking mechanism, even though it has been unlocked, there is this small bar in here, and what I need to do is push down on the bar and that will release the latch. If you look at it, this bar releases the catch to allow the latch to open. With the key slot in the horizontal position, the symbol shows that the lock is in a unlocked configuration, there and there. Similarly, the lock on the top, the key slot is also in the horizontal position, which shows that the lock is unlocked. Again, I cannot just open this without unlatching it. And if you look at the underside of that latching mechanism, again there is a metal bar. If I push on that bar, that will then allow me to release the latch. The latching mechanism is the same as the bottom lock. I will measure the external dimensions of this top case. The width of the box from the aluminum edge on the left to the aluminum edge on the right is about 460 millimeters. If I measure from the edge of the left plastic corner to the edge of the right plastic corner, it's about 475 millimeters. The depth of the box from the front aluminum edge to the back aluminum edge is about 383 millimeters. If I measure the depth of the box from the plastic corner on the front to the plastic corner on the back, it is about 395 millimeters. The height of the box from the base to the top of the bar is about 335 millimeters. Now I will open the top lid. This is what it looks like inside. This is a very nice black vinyl internal covering. This internal covering can actually be removed just by lifting it out Inside, there are two luminous stickers to be applied to the rear corners of the top box. There is a installation sheet printed in English and also in Mandarin. I would like to highlight from the user manual the warning. First, the maximum load the top box can carry is 10 kilograms. Second, the maximum speed to be traveling on a motorcycle with the top box installed is 120 kilometers per hour. And there's a mounting kit and two security keys. That's it, that's all that's in there. This is what the inside of the box looks like. Again, that's a very nice black vinyl internal covering, and this piece comes out completely just by lifting it away from the edges, and this covering is held in place by 4 velcro strips on each of the 4 sides, and there's also a strap just to keep things in. On the lid, the covering actually has 2 slots, so this top box will definitely fit a full face helmet. I just didn't want something much bigger. Now I will proceed to installation of the top box on the motorcycle. This is my Tiger 900 GT Pro. It's 2023 year model. Over the past month, I've installed GVTN6415 engine crash bar, front wheel axle slider, rear wheel axle slider, frame sliders on the left and right, buck busters handguard, headlight protector, aluminium radiator guard, screen protection film for the TFT dashboard screen. This is the mounting plate that came with my 55-liter aluminium top box. I will now test fit this mounting plate to the rear hand grab rail. The upside of this mounting plate has the 4 studs on top, and this steel hook faces the rear. The optimum fixing would be for the 4 bolts on this rear grab handle, 1, 2, 3, 4, to be aligned with the slots on this mounting plate. Furthermore, because the pillion seat has to be lifted out, the front end of this plate should be back so that it does not hinder the removal of the pillion seat. Now, if I put this plate in this position, none of the 4 bolts fit any of the slots. That's a bit unfortunate. All of the bolts are further outwards than the slots available on this mounting plate. That means I have to make an adapter. What I will do is remove these 4 bolts and then install 4 aluminium spacers. This packet contains spacers with 8.5mm internal diameter, 20mm outside diameter, and a height of 25mm. This packet contains a similar spacer, except it is shorter with a height of 20mm. I think I will end up using the 25mm, but I will try the 20mm spacers as well. So first of all, I have to remove these 4 bolts. I have a 12mm socket. This is an M8 bolt. I will not remove all the bolts because I don't want the hand grab handle to go out of alignment. I have here an M8 bolt, 50mm long. I have a stainless steel washer, 16mm outside diameter to fit this M8 bolt. This is the 25mm long aluminium spacer. Insert it into the threaded hole. I want the 25mm spacer to give this enough clearance over the outer edge. Hand tighten it only at this stage. Similarly, the second bolt with washer and 25mm spacer, hand tighten only. Now that these 2 are fixed, I can remove the other 2. Again, the M8 bolt, 50mm long, stainless steel washer, 25mm spacer. My plan is to use the same height spacer, even though I could use a shorter one here. If I use a shorter spacer here, the angle will be different from the intended slope of this grab rail. Secondly, if this is shorter, then the plate will be at an angle to the surface at both ends. That means the plate will not be fully engaged with both surfaces, and if I tighten it, it will bend the plate, and that's not what I want. So I will use equal spaces on front and back. 4th bolt with stainless steel washer, and again the 25mm length spacer. I cannot mount this box plate to these 4 bolts because I have not yet made an adapter plate. And I've made a cardboard template that I can put on top and mark out so that I got the positions of the 4 bolt holes. Then once I have the positions of the 4 bolt holes, I can drill a hole on the cardboard and then mount this cardboard template, followed by putting this mounting plate on top and positioning it to the right position and then marking where the slots are. And with those markings, I can cut a steel plate to fit. It'll take me some time to make that adapter steel plate. So in the meantime, I'll retighten these 4 bolts to factory torque specifications 25 Newton meters. I have here a Warren and Brown torque wrench. I've set it to 25 Newton meters. I'll need a 6mm hexagonal Allen key for tightening. That one's tightened to 25 Newton meters now. Do the opposite diagonal. Let's torque to 25 Newton meters. This is torque to 25 Newton meters. Last one. Torque to 25 Newton meters. These are all now tightened to torque specifications. My initial idea was to cut a steel plate about this size and bolt the steel plate to these 4 bolts sitting on top of these aluminum spaces. But when I investigated a little bit more, this mounting plate has to sit back about here so that in position I can release the pillion seat if I want to. The back of this edge must not hinder the pillion seat from being released. In this position, the 4 mounting bolts are approximately here, there, and there. What that means is that if I use a flat adapter plate, the 4 bolt positions will hinder me using any of the slots. So instead, what I'll be doing is this. I have here a rectangular hollow section steel tubing. The size of the tubing is 65mm by 35mm. What I'll do instead is cut a short length like this, one for the right hand side, one for the left hand side, and then drill 2 holes through big enough for me to pass the 2 Allen key bolts down to bolt it. Then bracket will sit on top of it so that the slots will be on the top, and I will be using riveting nuts or what's called rift nuts or nut sets on the top surface so that I can bolt to the rift nuts. I've done a marking to this position with pencil of where I want to cut. I have here a set square and metal scriber. Here we are. I've got a nice scribed line. I have my protective gear on. This is the Bosch Professional GKM 18V-Li. It cuts through metal and does not create spark like an angle grinder. There you go, that's a very nice straight cut. I need 2 of these steel tubes, so I'm going to mark out a second one. That's the marking for the second tubing. Here we are, the second tube cut. I have a smooth file, a bastard file, and one of these smaller square files. I'm going to smoothen the edges. I've marked each of the steel tubings. Top, F for front, R for rear, so that if I place it like this, I know that's the top surface. This faces the front, that faces the rear. I've done that for the left and right tubings. What I want to do now is place this where I want it to be and have the bolt head positions transfer to the bottom of the tubing. To do that, I will first put paper masking tape over the head. I could use paint to put on the tip of the head, but I will try this Timbermade wood filler. It looks like this. I want to try using the wood filler because it's not runny like paint. So if I put this over the head, hopefully it will transfer to the steel. I will also mark right hand side to know this is the right hand side tubing, and left hand side to know this is the left hand side tubing. Gently touching it, ensure that the filler touches the steel completely. Lift it up gently, and there we have it. One marking, second marking. Now I'll use my pencil and just outline it. I can now remove this, and the heads are still clean. This is a vernier caliper. I will now use the vernier caliper to measure the center to center of the two bolt heads. And this says to me that the sloping distance between the two bolt head centers is 11 centimeters. So this is the bottom surface of the right hand side tubing. That's the forward facing bolt head position. That's the rearward facing bolt head position. I have here a center dot punch. I will use a hammer and the center dot punch to punch the approximate center of that marking. That's what the punched hole looks like. Now with the vernier caliper still set at the same measurement for the distance, I will hold it so that one of the jaws is at the center of that dot, and I will put the dot punch at the other end where the 11 centimeter marking is. So that's where it should be. Now I'll use my dot punch. Check again. That's very good. Now I can punch it deeper. I can now use a floor standing pedestal drill to drill holes through this. I have put the steel tubing I want to drill into the vise on the pedestal drill. Because the bolt is an M8 bolt, I will choose 8mm drill. This is the first hole I want to drill, and I have to drill it right through. So it is important that I have this steel tubing flat, tighten it. I've adjusted the drill to the exact center dot position. That's done. That's a hole through there and a hole through there. I've repositioned the drill for the second hole. So that's the two holes, and I've drilled them right through. What I'll do is flip the tubing to show the top surface, and then I'll have to drill these two top surface holes bigger because these holes have to pass the bolt head through. Measuring the diameter of the bolt head with my vernier caliper, it looks like the diameter is 13.2 millimeters. This is a 13mm drill bit. I will try this first. Let's start. Just do a check. Yep, it's still too small because this is 13.2mm. I might as well drill the second hole 13mm first as well. This is a Makita GD0800C die grinder. I'll have to use the die grinder to just slightly widen the diameter of the top two holes. Alright, this is the M8 bolt. I will test fit the head. Just nice. Do not want to grind away too much. That works. So what this means is, this is the top surface of the tubing. I will pass this bolt through, and I can use an Allen key to tighten it from here. So that will work. I will undo the right hand side bolts. And because I'm not using a wide flat plate, but rather using rectangular hollow section tubes, I will replace these 25mm tall spaces with the 20mm tall spaces, because it's better to lower the tray and the top box to reduce the center of gravity. I have a magnet here, and the steel bolt will be attracted to the magnet. I believe the hand grab rail is aluminium, because it does not stick, but the threaded body inside the hand grab rail is steel, and that's where the magnet grabs. I will use this plumbing washer so that this aluminium spacer doesn't scratch the surface, and because this tubing is steel, I want to electrically isolate the aluminium from the steel so that they do not chemically react over the long term and cause corrosion. I do have a stainless steel washer. I'll just put that in there and drop the steel bolt through. Similarly for the second bolt. Pop that in there with the washer, and it should go through. What I do want to check with the vernier caliper is how deep the hole is to the bottom of the thread, so that I make sure I'm using a steel bolt that's long enough. Vernier calipers are very useful. It is to the bottom of the hole, and it says it is 62 millimeters deep. If I look at this, that means I should use a longer bolt, at least another 10 millimeters long. Having measured the depth of the hole at the rear and at the front, the rear is deeper than the front, so I use an M8 by 60 millimeter bolt for the rear and M8 by 50 millimeter bolt for the front. Put the steel washer in there and put my bolt in. Put the second washer in here, put the 50 millimeter bolt through. There. Right, it looks like the 60 millimeter bolt on the rear and 50 millimeter bolt on the front works. It's not shaking, so this is only temporary, so that when I mount the same tubing on the left hand side, I can then place the mounting plate on top and mark the holes to drill. Now that I know this right hand side tubing works, I'll remove it and use the drill holes as a template for my left hand side tubing. This is the right hand side tubing that has been drilled. This is the left hand side tubing to be drilled. Now the two holes will be on the left edge here towards the front like this. So in order to use this as a template, I will just reverse this upside down and put it on top of this tube. So now if I drill this way, it will be correct. Alright, I've aligned the two tubings so I can drill. That's the M8 drill bit. Okay, first hole is through. Done. So this is the right hand side I use as a template, and this is the left hand side. That's the top surface of the left hand side, and I'll now drill a 13 mil hole through here. Again, to use the die grinder to cut a bigger hole. Test again to make sure the M8 bolt head can go through. Yes. Yes, that's good. I'm removing the left hand side spacers and exchanging the 25mm tall spacers for the shorter 20mm tall spacer. Fitting this left hand side steel tubing. Left hand side done. Now for right hand side. Alright, left hand side and right hand side is done. So essentially with these two steel tubes, left and right, gives me a lot more possibilities to drill mounting holes for this plate. So with the starting position, say here, the rear edge of pillion C is about 3 centimeters from the edge of the box. So that's a fair bit. I'll move the box nearer. Now the edge of the box is about 15 millimeters. I'll move the box till it's about approximately 10 millimeters from the edge of the seat. That's about where I want it. Now I'll use a pen to mark where the edge of the plate is. That's the edge of the mounting plate. That's the lines I've marked out for these two edges. I'll align the mounting plate to the two lines in front approximately. So now I will clamp the left hand side. Make sure I don't clamp over the slot position I want to mark out for drilling. Check again that the spacing hasn't moved. Yes, it's good. Left and right are good. So what I'll do is mark out all the slot positions. Then I can choose later on which ones I want to drill through. I will have to change the clamp position to mark out some of the other slots. It's most likely the slot positions I want will be this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here. Now that I've marked out all the slot positions onto these two steel tubes, I can remove this mounting plate, then remove the two steel tubes and drill holes in the slots that I want. I need my 6mm Allen key. So those are the slot positions for the right hand side tube. I've selected this one here for a drill hole and this one here for a drill hole. I will also grind off the edge there so that it does not stick out towards the seat. Same thing on this side, grind off that extra edge. Continue removing the left hand side tube. For each steel tube, I need a minimum of 2 holes to fix them. So one hole is here, second hole is here, but I will add a third hole here for safety redundancy in case one of the bolts fails. The bolts I'm using will be M6mm bolts. So what I'll do is drill a hole with the drill bit that is 6.5mm to give it a little bit of allowance. Now for the middle hole. The third and last hole on this tube. All 3 holes, 1, 2, 3. This is the right hand side steel tube. This is the line for me to cut off this section. I have here a Bosch GWS 25-230 angle grinder, AC powered. Done. The edge is sharp, so I need to file to smoothen it. Now for the smooth file. That's good. I might as well file this side as well. Yeah, that's good. I'll deburr the holes. This is the right hand side tube. That's it. That's the top. Done. 1, 2, 3 holes to screw the mounting plate. Now for the left hand side tube. That's good. This is the left hand side steel tube. All done. To finish off these 2 steel tubes, I will paint them. But before I do, I want to do a test fit first with the box mounting plate to make sure that all the holes are in correct position. I've only temporarily secured the 2 steel tubes to the motorcycle hand grab rails. I've only hand tightened this box mounting plate to the 2 tubes. So I've checked all the 6 holes. They match the slots and all the bolts can go in the 6 holes. So that's good. Now for the final test to fit the box to the mounting plate. On the base of the box is this plate that is riveted to it. There are 4 slots, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 slots need to slot into these 4 pinions. Push it forward and the box is secure. That's it. It works very well. And I have given the box enough allowance so that the seat can clear the box. That's good. The test is a pass. That's what the underside looks like now. I'll take these tubes out and paint them. I've taken off the pinions and the latching hook from the box mounting plate, and I intend to spray paint it because the original coating from the factory is not good. It's very thin, so I might as well give it a coat whilst I've got this out. For the mounting plate, I will use this White Knight flat black oil enamel spray. I want to make sure I get the side of the slot. Alright, that's good enough. Let it dry. I can recoat after 1 hour. Alright, now to let it dry for 1 hour before the second coat. It's 1 hour since I first sprayed. I will turn it over and give the underside a first coat as well. That way, the top side gets to dry even longer. Alright, that's it. Now to let the underside first coat dry. The two steel tubes and the mounting plate have both received 2 coats of paint on the top and underside. I'm now ready to install it to the motorcycle. I'll start installing the left hand side steel tube. For each bolt, I will have a stainless steel flat washer and a stainless steel spring washer on top. So I'll slip these washers in first and then insert the bolt. Now for the rear bolt, I'll put the bolt in first and then slip the spring washer in to the bolt so that the spring washer doesn't just drop. There, I've got it in. I can start screwing this bolt in. Just hand tight for the moment. Now for the right hand side steel tube, same thing. Put a stainless steel washer for the front. Get the short 50mm bolt. Put the spring washer through the bolt. Bolt and the hole is aligned. Now for the rear bolt, I will now tighten these bolts to 25 Newton meters. I have here a Warren and Brown torque wrench. I've set the torque to 25 Newton meters, and this is a 6mm Allen key. Torque wrench has clicked. That means this is now 25 Newton meters. Reset the torque wrench again. This is also clicked, so that's also 25 Newton meters. Now to do the left hand side. This is clicked, so this is now tightened to 25 Newton meters. This is also clicked. So all good. Both steel tubes have each steel bolt tightened to 25 Newton meters. Just as a simple check. Yup, it's not moving. So the mounting plate will sit on top of the 2 steel tubes in about this position. I've cut 4 pieces of thin rubber about 2mm thick. I'll place it between the mounting plate and the steel tubes. I've cut holes to allow the 3 steel screws pass through. Now to put the mounting plate over the rubber and steel tube. Just make sure I line up the holes correctly. That's pretty good. I'll put the bolt through the top hole so that the mounting plate doesn't slide down. Now the top hole of the left hand side, bottom hole of the right hand side, bottom hole of the left hand side. Then I want the middle hole as well. So all the bolts are in position. Now to install lock nut, flat washer and spring washer to each of the bolts. I have all 6 bolts installed with the washers and nuts. Now to tighten them, so I need a ring spanner and an Allen key. All 3 bolts on the left hand side and 3 bolts on the right hand side are completely tightened now, and this is not moving. That's good. It is now time to install the top box to the mounting plate. That's it. That's it, done. It's not going anywhere. That's very good. I'm very pleased with this. I think it looks good and it certainly will be useful. Just have a look around. I've now added the luminous stickers to the left and right rear corners. I like it for safety reasons. I'm really pleased with this top box. I expected that this being a box with a universal mounting plate supply, I would have to customize my own mounting plate to fit my Tiger 900. If I bought one of the name brand top boxes in Australia, or for that matter wherever you are in the world, it would have cost me probably over $1,000 because I would have to buy a motorbike specific mounting plate and also a plate to attach the box to. All in all, I'm really pleased with this top box and I look forward to many rides where I can carry cargo, tools, even go grocery shopping with this. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more, so you'll get notification when I upload more projects I've done on my Tiger 900 motorcycle. Thank you so much.